Activating meridians. Alignment. Instability in field. Negative. Charge. Aligning matrix field. Positive. Coordinates reached, Commander.
Activate the Sade field.
Activations of multi-dimensional engines.
Launch communications probe.
Power levels to maximum.
Activate all dimensional levels of communication.
Communication established.
The voice you hear is known as Bob. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. This is the last slave planet in the galaxy. Under all agreements, under all rights, under galactic law, we now proclaim this planet free. The descension of the true human consciousness has begun.
Energizing Shambhala diamonds.
The men, women, and children of this planet are now set free.
Grid fields activated.
You have already reached
Activate Shambhala diamond.
critical mass.
Integration onto microcosm. Expanding linear space.
Prepare for landing. Prepare for landing. Prepare for landing.
Free space activation. Landing. Caution. All crew members to station. This is the Starship Bob. We are landing.
Right, well, welcome. I'm Bob, commonly known as. Yeah, that's the voice I'm supposed to be, you see, landing the Starship. This is it. The people of Earth are now all set free. You can do whatever you like, whenever you like, create no loss, no harm, no deception, no breach of the peace, and this comes from the empowerment of the entire Galactic and Universal Council. It's known as a council because they consult before action. Now, all information and on all acts you will be consulted before rather than after the event. I know, it's a bit of a strange concept for most of you. No, really, that was written a while ago and put together by quite a few good friends of mine when we were trying to encourage such things as we're now experiencing on Darkcity Radio. So although, for you people who are still tuned in, you're just going to think, what? They just finished Don's show and then they're starting this show and that's not that show, that's this show. Well, really, there is only one show, of course. And to coin the phrase, this is you are playing the starring role in that show, and that show is called Life, Your Life. Now, we have put a couple of calls out over the week about music. We got that jingle you heard, we'd like a jingle for Dom. I often play SGB. No, I don't. I play, got him in my head, haven't I, at the moment. Do like what he's done. I saw him a while ago and was really impressed with SGB. So, anyway, I'll get there. S-Man, I play S-Man where what features Dom, and I play that at the beginning of all Dom's shows, especially if I'm producing Dom's show. I like to put them in there. What we'd like is, looking for one for Resistance News for Bob, Earthwise. It's like a news programme Bob's going to be doing on a Saturday, bringing in things like what we've heard regarding the situations of these roads and these tyrannical people. I don't even call them people, but these yeah, whatever, you know, running around the neighbourhood, just doing whatever they want, whenever they feel like it. That is not what we play on our jingle. We're not having any more of that, so we'll do something about it. Anyway, so what we're looking for is them jingles. 30 seconds, minute and a half. Up to the one we just had on is 2 minutes 45. It's huge, it's massive. That's about as big as we could go, really. That one's chopping down, making a bit shorter. So we'd want station advert, audio adverts, you know, advertising Dom show and all the shows that are on the schedule. Also intros for all the shows that are going to be on the schedule. When we were having this bit of a talk and this bit of a chat, and S-Man had already said, play me stuff, get on with it. Dom, Darkcity, thank you very much. Dom is like an ambassador for Darkcity. He's out there in the world, and he is, I'm going to call him the ambassador of Darkcity. And I don't mean like one of them cheating, skiving, thieving thugs that go and organise things and tell us about it afterwards. See? Anyway, Dom's been out there talking, as he does, meeting up with people, and SGB has said the same. Here's my gear, use it, right on, Darkcity, Dom, thank you very much indeed, from Darkcity, and from SGB, even he gets it's a good thing. I'm still blown away from that. A younger lad, his music, saying a lad, he's a man now, no doubt about it. Well, he was quite a young lad when I heard it, and the one I heard was, it just started with, when words fail, music speaks. Visualise the brighter days. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It explained a lot. I learnt a lot from that. And, you know, from where he is, I'm the older guy, he's the younger guy. And I've got a lot of respect for that. He's out there and he's doing it. And pulling down a few posters as well and stuff, getting a little bit. Fun lad. So, nice to have him supporting us. I do believe there's more stuff coming in for us to play. And we will be playing more of that. So that's good stuff. So this is Darkcity show on Darkcity Radio. The whole idea of that is to bring people together, and it's a bit of free time, you could say. But tonight, we've got something special. Something really special. Dave Island's just come on there. So if you do want to get in touch, it's Bob's Backyard. Okay, that's for questions. And in the hot seat tonight is Odin Wildhunt. Great guy, right, lots to say, passionate man, knows his stuff.
I just got back, actually, thank you.
Depth of the law. You see, look, he's at it again, can't shut the guy up. But now, this is going to be different, because I'm going to shut up, right, and he's going to be put under scrutiny by Prajna and Callie. So we're going to have an interview. We're going to interview him. Now, if you've got any questions to put to Odin Wildhunt, here's your opportunity.
Are you kidding me? I've just come back from outside.
That's why I've just took the opportunity to put you in the hot seat. Cause
it really is. Okay, that's fine.
So you had no idea. You had no idea.
I thought you were only joking in the break, Paul.
We're here live on air. The Prajna and Callie and Odin. I said
Odin.
Odin Wildhunt. The interview.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'll do it again.
Go on then.
Okay, well, shall I start? Because I've known you the longest, Odin?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, why don't you tell everyone where I know you from? How did we meet?
Okay. Well, basically, I met Callie in the Stockport groups. These were meetings of people who, this was already 3 years ago, as I recall, who have chosen to come together and learn about law and legislation and solutions and actually act upon their knowledge and share ideas in basically completely open pub meetings. And it was just fantastic to do that. Hopefully, I think certainly in Wigan they are still taking place, and hopefully other areas around the country. And basically I got picked up on the latter stages of me living in Greater Manchester area up near Oldham on the base of absolutely nothing. And I got put into a police cell and had already known a fair amount of what I should, how I should act and what I should say. But as it transpires, I said too much, because I actually said, I opened my mouth and spoke. So in that police cell in Oldham, the words that I was telling the police, and then a head doctor who allegedly came in afterwards, after 2 days, 48 hours in a police cell, I was actually telling him that I wasn't a person, and that I didn't actually get
what were they holding you on?
It
What
was in
did they
charge
say?
of it was assault, apparently. Assault. But, it's just a made-up, trumped-up charge.
Right.
And basically I approached some young 16-year-old girls outside a college in Oldham and asked them if they wanted to interview me about common law. As it turns out, their reaction to that, and the security guard on the gate of that college started me on a journey that I didn't expect, in truth. And so basically I told them that I wasn't a person, and told them all that I knew at 3 o'clock in the early hours of the morning to the head doctor about the birth certificate being a bond. And as it turns out, as a caution of advice to people listening, that is, of course, a mistake, because every word that you say will be taken as testimony and used against you by the police. And at this point in time, as no doubt Praj and Callie full well know, they have two ways to go. One with the Mental Health Act and one with the Terrorism Act. This is apparently perfectly normal procedure for police people in the UK. This happened about it was about 3 years ago, I guess now, yeah. And so indeed, after that, instead of being let free, I was threatened with a taser, handcuffed, put into a van, and taken to Stockport Stepping Hills Mental Institution. And I was about 3 days there, and two other colleagues that I knew called Semi and Martin turned up to defend me, although I'd already explained to a blonde nurse there that she ought to really go to the internet and look for Robert Arthur Menard and Irene Mouse Gravenhorst to back up my claims to the fact of a constitution.
I came with Marty and Sam as well, remember?
You did, sweetheart. I'm getting to that. Okay, yeah. So after 3 or 4 days without any induced drugs in a very horrible place in Stockport, I was put into a taxi paid for by the taxpayers, no doubt, if you believe in taxpayers and taxpayers' money. Then up to another institute back in Oldham, where miraculously a bed had become available. Another very dark and horrible place. And it was there where I spent a further 4 days that Callie came, and Martin and another gentleman as well, to support me, because through a Skype group I'd let them know where I was. There was also a massive amount of telephone calls being made certainly to the Stockport Institute as well, which was a great support for me. And just to see Callie there and Martin to support me was just a massive relief. It was just wonderful and beautiful. So I knew Callie, of course, earlier on, and I know she's very active, and I know what she's all about and her full understanding. And she has been this way for quite some considerable amount of time. And because of the testimony of the woman, her doctor in the Stockport Institute, saying that there'd been, in inverted commas, a mistake on me being there, then that carried through, and I had to work very diligently and carefully within the secure environment of the mental health hospital in Oldham to actually sort of get out, really. But as it turns out, that did happen. And
actually, showing the psychologist or psychiatrist in the Stockport hospital, or directing it to go and take a look at those videos, that was what actually swung it for you, wasn't it?
I don't know, because she never got back to me. All I was aware of, I never had any further conversation with her, but she seemed to have an element of excuse me, integrity about her, so she may or may not have completely not known about this, and so researched it and then made the phone call in. But I didn't see her after that, so I can't be sure about that actually. But I would like to think so.
Actually, Andy, that's how me and Prajna ended up meeting as well, was through that episode of, because they were trying to section you, someone in one of the Skype rooms, and I can't remember who, but they said, have a chat with Prajna Pranab, whose name I'd seen floating about but never really interacted with. So I dropped Prajna a line or Skyped him or something. Yeah. And that was our very first communication, wasn't it, babe?
And you know, interestingly, I'd just sprung a friend of mine, Oliver, out of a psychiatric unit because he'd gone through the same thing. He'd failed to turn up for a court case that he'd checked the day before with the court, and they had no record of this case actually being on. So he agreed with them that he didn't have to turn up for this court case. Well, then a policewoman came around the next day and arrested him and took him off down to the Nick, and he kicked off a Nick, and they got psychiatric assessment on him. And he thought, well, anywhere's going to be better than this place, you know, because they'd thrown him in a cell full of piss as well. You know.
Well, you know what I would say is that it's just beautiful the way things work, Praj, as in positive and negative effect. You know, it is beautiful. And also to point out that I actually remained very calm. I just knew in my heart at no point in time did I actually consent to anything, did I sign anything either. Sure. This all happened because of pure force and violence used against me. I didn't choose to go to these places, neither did your friend, no doubt. But I didn't give them any excuses. I've had another experience actually down in the southwest in St Austell, and I actually learned from that experience. My prior experience, and actually just stayed quiet, also remained calm just as I did in before. So I gave them no excuses to see me violent, or I didn't give them any energy at all, because they're going to do what they're going to do, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I did ask to see a Serco nurse who came in the second time as well, but then they take you into what I call interrogation. It's an interview room for people who haven't actually experienced this. Maybe they're listening. You know, obviously this whole experience is extremely intimidating, and one would be very frightened, which is purely what they expect you to be, and they expect you to speak. It's very strange when in their faces they see you as being uncooperative when they've actually used violence against you to get in, but you're not obliged to actually speak in an interview room. And so when she said things like, do you understand? This is a very serious situation. Do you understand? I basically said no. So I didn't stay silent. I just said no to her. Do I understand? And she didn't actually go on to try and explain anything further. Just she continued with her questions. And I was looking straight into her face and into her eyes. This was a second experience. And remained calm at all times and didn't put anything on tape except for the fact where she tried to fabricate evidence, which is what they do. So they find anything they possibly can in evidence, actual evidence, to try and trump up some other charge. And so when she showed me something, I said this was obtained without a warrant through breaking and entering. Then stopped, didn't say anything further, and then on tape in the room she said, we don't need a warrant. And then I sort of was smiling. After that she said, wipe that smile off your face, because she basically convicted herself in testimony on tape, which you know, and they were on very shaky ground. So I hadn't signed anything, electronic signature on, you know, a television screen that was put in front of me in the upper raised desk of the sergeant, who was all bullish and young and massive muscles and all that. Didn't bother telling me his name. And to my amazement, after just 4 hours of the second experience, they let me go because they had nothing on me. You know, he did whisper to me though elements of the Terrorism Act. I can have you on the Terrorism Act. So I just looked up and I said, why are you quoting me that then? And then he shut up. So I mean, these are very dangerous people. They want to try and get you any way they possibly can. I was able to remain calm because I knew full well I hadn't done what they accused me of doing. I was purely innocent of everything. I was calm and not guilty, you know. It's very important for people to learn how to act around police. Dom himself is obviously very well experienced, I'd say. And Praj, he's dropped off, I think. I was just going to ask Praj, because this, for the listeners, this happened to Prajna as well, and he's a very peace-loving guy. He and so is Callie, all recorded well on tape. Very, very nice work there in their stance they took. And it's clearly blatantly obvious that what they do is use violence against you, force. They think they can when it's not even being put out by the opposing side. So sign nothing, say nothing, accept nothing. That's right. Oh, and a nice little point which I'd picked up on the internet through my study as well, just for the listeners, is that the final part, when they're opening up the door and saying, "Oh, it's okay, we'll let you go," don't jump on your ego and say anything. Just say nothing, because you're still in their environment. Go to their desk, and then when they ask you to accept papers with a number on it of some kind of allegation of a crime reference number, then you raise your head and say, "Well, that's your property, not mine," and you don't accept that either, and see what reaction you get, because it's well worth it, because they get really pissed off at that. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that staying calm is a very important thing to try and do in any situation that's causing you stress or fear or any emotions like that, or any confrontational situations. If you try and stay calm and stay in peace within yourself, you normally know the right thing to do to get yourself out of it, and things normally roll in a lot better way for you. Very good. True indeed. It's a strength, isn't it, Sarah? It's a strength. You have to know yourself, remain calm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Stay out of fear.
Mhm.
I think we have been joined back by Prajna. Are you back, Prajna? No, it says he is, but we can't hear you, so he'll be back soon. Well, Odin, I was looking forward to the interview there as well. That must be that focus.
Well, it's so light matter. I'm lucky to be free and out and not damaged by drugs. I can assure you that. You go ahead. Anyone there, if they would like to ask me a question, I'll try my best to answer it.
I was just going to add that I've had a similar experience, or more than one experience. The last one I handed myself in to the police, and because they wanted to question me, I went to the police station, and they wouldn't tell me what it was regarding. I went to the police station, and they told me they still didn't tell me what it was about. They took me, locked me in a cell, and left me there for 7 hours. Approximately. Yeah. Without any water, without any food. I mean, 7 hours isn't a long time to go for water or food, but nothing at all. Just completely ignored me. Actually, I'm telling a lie. Within 20 minutes, 25 minutes, a nurse came in and she asked me if I was taking any medication or anything. I said no. She said, "Do I have any ailments?" I told her what ailments I have, what my so-called medical conditions are, as understood by a doctor. That's how I explained it to her. And they just ignored me and left me in that room. Right. Then I was actually interviewed, and in that interview, I was asked my name, and I gave my name. I was asked my date of birth, which I gave my date of birth, although it's only hearsay. I give the date of birth as I understand it to be. Didn't give them any hassle over being Freeman and it being alleged and all that. Just give my name and my date of birth. And then the rest of the interview, I replied no comment. No comment, all the way through it. In the middle of that interview, the lady police officer who was doing the majority of the questioning jumped up and angrily screamed at me and said, "Has your solicitor told you to come in here and say no comment?" The solicitor actually responded to that. And I continued to say no comment. It was only afterwards when I have spoken to people. You see, I knew I was in no state to make a statement, to be interrogated at that point. I've been left in a cell for a period of time, and it's not that I haven't been there before. I've done a bit of time when I was younger. I went to Newhall Detention Centre. I know what prisons were. rebellious in nature, you know. I've said that. But to be locked into a room and treated with that manner, it doesn't matter. Like Sarah said, it's difficult to stay calm. Thankfully, I did stay calm. I did. So yeah, 14 days later, they rang me up and there'll be no, they're not pursuing with any case or investigation against me. Nothing.
I've got some friends who, obviously this is happening very, very widespread and without warrants, breaking into people's homes, etc., and kidnapping. And the possible way to go is to make a public-private prosecution. That's a criminal prosecution against the actual, and that works. Apparently, I've not done it myself. But against
that was going to be my question. I've had the police now enter this property where I am. I mean, the time I was arrested for, I wasn't even in the country. They entered this property under Section 17, people at risk, because there was smoke coming out of my chimney.
Oh my God!
Where they allegedly found cannabis growing. Where they allegedly removed a number of plants. Like I say, I wasn't even in the country at the time. They then smashed up everything. The paperwork says they had 17 plants. The other paperwork says they have 7 plants. So nobody's quite sure how many plants they actually were. They smashed up virtually the top floor. It's a 3-story building. They'd smashed up radio am equipment, which has got, they said it was to do with the production of cannabis, which is radio am equipment. I don't know if anybody, you know, this is for communicating over a radio. All that was smashed up. All sorts of equipment and doors and ripped off hinges. No reason to do this. You know, doors aren't locked or anything like that. Considerable amount of damage done. Because they entered the property looking for smoke coming out of a chimney. I have an open fire. When you light a chimney after a period of time, you will get, well, it's steam. That's what it is. It's not. It's damp. Do
you know what it is, Bob? People have to realise, hopefully by listening back to this podcast or listening live right now, that all it takes is a phone call to the police, and that's the biggest mistake they can do. That would be people who want to cause trouble, not solve problems, will call the police. Now, I happen to be doing that for the last, solidly actually, for 6 whole years in Oldham, due to the fact that, and that was a part of my learning curve, after I realised that the heroin dealing right outside my front door was actually positively being fortified and allowed, not only by the local MP, but by the Greater Manchester Police themselves.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. The number of crimes that have been put down as drug crimes related to cannabis in Manchester and the surrounding areas are phenomenal. And this is part of the funding, the police funding. Under the Misuse of Drugs Act, under the Nut Report, was it the Nut? Yes, it was the Nut Report, wasn't it? Commission, where they deemed the dangerousness of certain things against horse riding. If it was more dangerous than horse riding, it needed legislation and so forth, you know, against it being done, activity or events or whatever you like to do. If it was less dangerous than horse riding, then it didn't need to have any legislation. And of course, the use of cannabis came well below horse riding in loss of man hours, in loss and so forth.
It's insane, isn't it, Bob? It's unbelievable.
They then took the cannabis from a Class C drug, as it was, and took it back up to Class B. But at the same time, they lowered the offence. It became a fixed penalty, which also was for prescribing of misprescribing of drugs, prescription drugs. So now, if a doctor misprescribes you drugs, it's an £80 fixed penalty. That's if he finds himself guilty, of course.
It's this is all due to the false war on drugs. If people look up, and it's just the insanity of it.
Where it's actually a cure for cancer and so forth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was wondering. My question would be: I've already had an incident where police have come into my house when been wrong, and I've been roughed up by them, where I was the victim of armed robbery. So yeah, and the police came there, and I've done the official route. I've put in a complaint against the police and their actions against me. I've got this on video. And that video I gave to the police originally to show them their authority, that, and with the mind, I mean, suppose quite naive, that they would actually do something regarding this, that they would look at the video and go, look, this guy's, you can't, he's a victim, you can't. I can get a bit irate. When I first looked at the video, you see, I was very self-critical and thought I could have dealt with it better. It wasn't until other people saw it and said, no, hang on a minute, you're the victim. They're being paid to come and help you, not to come and shove you about, beat you up and threaten you in your own home. That's not supposed to be happening. That's not securing the area. That's not under making sure that you're not being held in your, they haven't got your cat or your children upstairs in your house with a knife at its throat. That isn't doing that.
Yeah.
It certainly isn't. And like I say, I put in a complaint about that. I give that information to the police, give them the video, all of it, unedited, in the hopes that their superiors would look at it and go, yeah, we messed up a bit. That's not the way. We haven't followed procedure. We haven't, we haven't shown any compassion, and they did nothing.
No, right, but this is not unique to you, and it's actually gone over a considerable long period of time, Bob. This, and again, people should understand that because it is this state, because you're not going to be talking with anyone who's of reason or certainly of integrity, and what their job is to do is falsify evidence and create money, a position they've been put into themselves by government and policy. That they should be owed no respect. They should be fought, but they're not your friend. They're not. When they're wearing they're not going to do you any favours at all. But there's an awful lot of people who do believe that they've got nowhere else to turn but to call the police and think they're going to solve problems of crime throughout the UK. Yeah,
well, I can't disagree with you about this. So anyway, just because I went down my rabbit hole there slightly, excuse me.
That's all right.
I was wondering where to go with the second lot, whether or not to take out some. I don't think there's any point going down their procedure within the police complaints and so forth. So,
well, I put, like many people have actually put in their own common law liens, stuff that should actually work. Liens of millions of pounds for damage and injury, and they're all for a long period of time ignored, and it's because of that also that it's all a one-way street from the police. The courts, of course, will side with the police based on the money element of it. It's just a given, a blind, absolute, outright given that people, in point of fact, are actually dying in police cells. They're getting murdered. I had a great chat when I was hosting with Ian Puddick, Bob, you may know. Ian Puddick, again, not a one-off case just for him, but they are prepared to save face and ego and go right up the ladder to keep people quiet, pump loads of money into a court action in certain cases, all based on absolute lies. It's what they do is just lie. It's just a shame that there are loads of people, men and women, who actually get dressed into police uniforms throughout the UK. Oh, and I'd just like to point out that all police corporations throughout the UK are corporations. They're for profit. It's not a public body by any stretch of the imagination, and they haven't been for a very, very long period of time. There's business behind everything, equity in business, and they want your name of fiction. You have to give them their name for them to go anywhere. A lot of them do know this. A lot of them are trained not to know this.
I'm just wondering, brilliant info, brilliant. Prajna, have you actually joined us? Are you back, Prajna? Yay! Right, if you want to, I had to go on my own rant, Prajna. So welcome back, man, and please continue if you would with the.
How did you guys go? I was trying to get you back there.
We fell off.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, it fell
it's
off.
one of the problems of being on mobile internet. Sometimes it
Sure.
just goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're back now. Where were we?
I don't know.
Well, you were asking me how we met, and it's okay. I had the chance to speak with Bob. We were talking about how we met and what circumstances I'd been put through. So, you go ahead there, Kelly.
Sectioning, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I was saying that I just rescued a friend of mine from a psychiatric unit after he'd been through the same process that you had. And and as soon as I found out they moved him to a psychiatric unit, I said, "Oh, great, get me down there." So off we went down there, and I had a chat with head chief nurse as we wandered in there, and I said, in fact, I can't remember precisely what it was that I said to her, but anyway, I got in there and said hi to Oliver and sat down with Oliver, and I said, well, oh, that's right. I asked if he was there, if he was sectioned or he was there voluntarily, and she said, well, he's here voluntarily, and I said, so technically then if he wanted to, he could just walk out. And she said, well, yes, technically he could, but also I have a duty to inform the police if he goes. Yeah. So I went through and I had a chat with Oliver, and I stated the situation to Oliver, and he said, oh, well, if I can just walk out of here, I'd like to do that, but I'm a bit concerned about the fact that the police will be waiting, And in fact, there were police down the end of the ward. Anyway, this nurse came back in, and I said, well, do you know, Oliver's presenting absolutely normally for Oliver. I'm a friend of Oliver's, and I know him well, and he's presenting absolutely normal for Oliver. I know some of his ideas might seem strange to you, but actually, a lot of his ideas are things that I've researched and I agree with myself. And and she said, who are you? Expecting me to spelt off a whole lot of qualifications and so on. I said, I'm just a good friend of Oliver's, And so then she didn't know who she was dealing with, but because of the language that I'd used and so on, it put her on the back foot. And so then she trotted off to try and find a consultant to give Oliver an assessment before they let him go, And of course, consultants being consultants, he was probably on the golf course and said, "Don't bother me," Anyway, she came back and Oliver said, "Look, if there's a piece of paper I need to sign to cover your back, that's fine. I have no problem with that." And so she just drew up a thing saying that he was releasing himself, against their better judgment or whatever. And he said, but I'm still a bit concerned about these police. And she said, well, do you know, on a busy hospital ward like this, sometimes it can take quite some time to get round to do all the things that you have to do.
Yeah, that's
she just looked at me absolutely deadpan, and she said, don't worry about the police that are down in the room down there for something entirely different. They don't know anything about this. And
cool.
Well, I don't know if we've lost Bob there for a second, just to let you know and let listeners know technical problem. We might have lost Bob, but anyway,
No, you haven't lost me.
Okay.
Carry on, please.
Okay. Prajna, what they do is their approach psychologically is that in writing in the Mental Health Act is that allegedly you will be a threat to yourself and to society at large. So suddenly, even though they've used force and violence to get you in there, there's all buts, that's right, with the consent. The outside end, the paperwork, even years after, will show and reflect voluntary and consent, when nothing could be further from the truth. And then they make up the lies, because obviously suddenly they can just make it up. Any kind of psychological assessment is just
Sure.
total make-believe. There are no such experts. But they
Yeah.
say, well, they must believe that the police must have had a reason as to bring you
Yeah.
there, even though they sign you in, not your signature either. And then it's all make-believe from there on in, which is, of course, that's all common purpose. It's a very, very dangerous world indeed.
Yeah, and you know, when you get into the psychiatric system, there is so much wrong with it. Absolute ton and a half wrong with it. Now, I was in precisely that position where they I said they had to section me, that I wouldn't go unless they did section me, because I didn't believe that they had anything to offer me, even if I had some problem. None of their medicine would be beneficial to me. And so they took me off there, and I thought that when I arrived at the psychiatric unit, that someone else would assess me and would immediately see that actually I wasn't insane. And but the doctor who assessed me there didn't actually assess me at all, really. He just said, listen, 2 other doctors have signed this piece of paper, you know, why am I going to question them? Just settle down and make the best of it.
And that's right. That reminds me, Praj, of what you just said, though, about the excuses with regard to certain doctors only turning up at certain wards on certain days. And so if those days are not the ones whereby you want to be freed, you've got another 2 to 3 to 4 days innings in that section until a doctor comes up and sees you, such is the state, and then makes allegations that he suddenly knows your mind. Certainly I was around some scary individuals, and I can see from what I saw in there that the hardcore drugs that they use are certainly not helping at all. They simply they make you down to a vegetable state, and that's why that if you resist, they also use force and violence, because they've cut you off. You've got no phone calls. They'll strap you down to a bed, and they will forcibly turn you into a vegetable. I don't mind talking about this because I think it's very, very important for people to know that this network of NHS mental hospitals and this procedure has been put in place quite specifically to take people like us off the street and hidden away. It's the middle ground. Even don't prisons, I'm not sure because I haven't had the experience, Praj, but I think, you know, do prisons have this element to it as well? I don't know.
No, prison's a different thing, and I only got a brief taste of it. But one thing that's overwhelmingly so in prison is that they've got to corrupt you for everything that you need. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
To get a phone card, yeah, I had to write the name and the phone number of the person that I wanted to ring. Yeah. And I couldn't just put Carly on there because they wanted to have 2 words. So they said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll just write Mary Smith. It doesn't matter." So just lie. Everything that you need to do, you have to lie. You have to compromise yourself in order.
You do. Oh, and also in police cells as well, they say, give us a number, we'll call it for you. Don't, because basically it's just data gathering and they're not going to make that call, but you would have left them with an associate of yours. These are not trustworthy people. They're not going to do that. Yeah. And also in the wards, you just reminded me, oh yeah, there's a technique, that's right, of in all the time that you're in there, a woman would take you into a separate room, all calmly with a smile on the face, and have like about 12 pages of A4, all printed with certain questions from top to bottom to be filled in. Isn't that right? And all that is data gathering, of which in a small time would be turned around and used against you. And that is about your family, about your mother, and just all your personal details. And as long as you're sat there actually talking, forgetting the fact that you're under duress, you're damning yourself as much as you would in a police station.
Yeah. It's hideous.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
And then there's
I couldn't believe it was happening to me, Praj. I just couldn't believe it. That's why, you know, it was super great that I had friends turn up. It is remarkably wonderful it felt great that people, you're not alone. You're not alone.
Sure.
And, I saw some very sad sights in those locations. I hopefully have got better in my approach, whereby if I'm picked up by the police, I won't go there, only for the fact that I wouldn't give them anything to indicate that, I won't flail out. But, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
5
I'm
minutes.
drifted off. I forgot we were on the radio.
It's all right. Hey, that's beautiful that you can say that. We can get that relaxed. We can just talk away and forget about it. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. That's. Anyway, we got about 5 minutes when we're coming up to the break. We'll throw a couple of tunes on. We'll try and keep that format going. We are on Dark City Radio. This is the Dark City Show. We've been running for nearly 3 hours now. We cover for Dom. Dom will be back. He's promising us a special show this weekend. So if you do want to join us, what is it? It's Bob's Backyard on Skype. That's Bob's Backyard. Please do so. You don't have to chat. You don't have to talk. Come and just say hello in the text box. Or you can go to darkcity.bobsbackyard.co.uk. Click the big button at the top, what says click here for live chat. And now that'll open you up in a box. It's just a little bit simpler. It doesn't take you to another site. We have had a couple of reports of people getting this on the website. Username and password required. We don't know why. We've solved this problem a dozen times. So to Mark, man, welcome, I do believe, to the chat room. You've managed to get in. And we use the caster. So if you are having difficulty and you can't hear me, it's a bit ironic, I know. But yeah, as you pass the word around, you can always go to darkcity.caster.fm. Excuse me. Anyway, if that is Mark, which I think it might be, in the chat room, welcome back. And don't worry, we did get another report coming back in from the tree killers, the tree and hedge killers of Hastings, as he's put it in chat. And they did ring in. We did lose them, and it worked. We're really pleased about that. The technology worked. They did get in. We had a lovely chat. Forgot the lady's name. Bob, are you there? Can you tell me what they were called? Forgot the lady's name again. I'm terrible. We have got
Indra.
Again, mate?
The lady's name's Indra.
Indra.
Is she coming back on?
She stayed there at the camp the whole time.
So there's some dedicated people down there, and that's what you need to push these things through, Bob. Brilliant, wasn't it? So that will be on the podcast. We have Robohippy, so thanks for that, who takes them down early in the morning and renders them. So if you are going to ring Dark City, don't bother trying to get through to Robohippy, because his audio always breaks up in the morning, because he's uploading to YouTube and building the website and trying to keep it all going. So apologies to those of you that have had those issues. I hope I know for Mark that the darkcity.caster.fm little emergency thing did work. Right then, chat room. I just wanted to say hello to a few people who are in the chat. Just say hello and wave at them. Den's just appeared. MMM and Anthony. Prajna is still kicking there. Jamie, the ones who are active, and all them that have been in there for a while who aren't so active, who help us out continually.
I'd like to say a special hello to Batman, who's actually a bot.
Batman. Batman is
Batman.
actually Batman. Yeah, is Vosto's bot. Vosto set this up for us a while ago, and it gives you admin when you come in the room and so forth like that. So without Batman, and we've got another Batman as well, haven't we? Without Batman, we couldn't be doing it. But also to Anon, Esteban, and Larry, who has helped us out knowing there. So nice to just mention the people in chat. Trolley, Wild, and all them that I haven't mentioned. Jordan.
I just got in only just now.
All right, you just got in there, right? Because it's starting to get. There have been a few problems earlier on, and Prajna's right. It's not that you are banned by IRC or AnonNet. It's the IPs in some cases what are being handed out are IPs which nobody else really wants, I think, and they've already been used for some naughty purpose.
Well, yeah. What happens is you can either have a fixed IP or you get your IP handed to you each time you connect to the internet. If you're on mobile internet, that's what always happens. You get a dynamic IP, and sometimes you can get given an IP that somebody else has used in the past for nefarious purposes, and so they end up on various ban lists, and OnNet keeps its own ban list. Usually, all you have to do is just give it a call back, and then everything's cool.
Yeah, it just tends to work. A couple of goes, and you get yourself a decent one. Sometimes a reset. And to reset the IP. Anyway, we'll take a couple of tunes and we'll be back with you really soon.
All you've got to take time searching through the thoughts of it. Believe and let it drive zone. The thought fate move us to be the man of tomorrow. Who will be the man of tomorrow? Who will be the man of tomorrow? Who will be the man of tomorrow? The man of tomorrow. Strike with knowledge, oh children. Within I know I rock is I solid foundation. Jah is our guide through creation. Have faith, bow patiently waiting for the stream of faith which brings life forever. For the man of tomorrow. Who will be the man of tomorrow? Who will be the man of tomorrow? Who will be the man of tomorrow? Who will be the man of tomorrow?
Welcome back to the Darkcity. As you can hear, we're all passionate. I'm going to stop there to turn it down. Albert Clark there. Thanks for the guys who've done the music for us tonight. Zach and Watts Army came before that. Albert Clark, S-Man and SGB, who we're happy to have on that clouting support we're getting for Darkcity. Right, we've got an argument. We're on an argument. This is the argument section. I want to know why I've got to look after my house, right? And I've got to do everything, and it's dead hard work, and I've got to run around all the time doing everything, right? All the time, twice, maybe 3 times. And Prajna and Callie get to live in a caravan and love it up, and it's great. What's going on?
Well, you see, we get stopped now and again as we're doing our thing.
We do pay our taxes because every time we get stopped, we are taxed to stand there and talk to the police and do our utmost to educate and enlighten them. And, you know, this is a great tax on our time, really. So although we don't pay other taxes and, you know, we don't get involved in all that stuff, still we pay a great deal in terms of attention, effort.
Who's typing?
And
love. Yeah.
However, there's something I really want to point out because there's so many aspects to the challenges that we face now. We're up against it from so many angles, and one of those angles, Paul Bob, is the media. We have a completely chained, completely puppet media. So we have to be our own media. And you are it. You are absolutely on the front line of the whole fucking thing, being the media.
That's why I got
Does
on the
that
radio.
answer your question?
No.
No,
It doesn't.
No.
I wasn't having a
likes-
go at the taxis. Right? Because we all got to pay taxes somewhere, haven't we? You got Asda now, and you pay tax, and they go, "Oh, there's no tax on." There's tax on the fuel and the labour and everything that gets there. You're being conned. So and I don't use my car much. I have got a car, and I had to pay road tax. I mean, my car, I paid 330.
You don't have to. You don't.
No, look. Don't
just get stopped a lot.
I don't have to. And I'm just, I'm playing the advocate of that silly man who has. I only paid 6 months tax because it's only got about 6 months in it. Because my car 4 years ago cost me £330 off eBay, and I haven't spent a bean on it. So I think, a bit of tax, bit of insurance. I'm not trying to say I don't mind paying. If that's what we've got to use, I'll pay with my time, I'll pay with my labour, whatever system we're going to use. I'm not kind of tearing away at everything.
But Bob, if I could just throw in there.
We'll let you.
Okay. Because that approach is probably that taken by everybody. They probably, if they're in a position to be able to pay, will pay. But when it's electronically founded, based on complete fiction and nothing really, they send up their bills. One for electric, for water, for council tax and stuff. It just goes up and up and up. So at some point in time, people do have to change their attitudes if they're deep within their programming, thinking that they like their warm house, they feel that they've earned it because they worked hard, maybe they've just finished up or got laid off from a 40-hour or 60-hour a week job, but can't pay their bills. If they're working right now, if they're upper to middle class, maybe they're not even listening to Darkcity radio, I don't know, but they should be.
I wouldn't go kind of putting that over it, man. We get listeners from all over the world, even when there's only a few, and we're actually putting all over the place.
Well, the thing is, if you're not going to make a stance 5 years ago, this year, do people, until they get really raked up against the fence, then they're just going to get angry and frustrated 2 years from now, because they're not going to be able to pay their bills, or they're going to just happily accept any solution sent in by the New World Order with regard to certain types of cards they can access their electronic currency from. But really, if they think that the last 200 years to now present is not great with regard to, say, bank charges at £25 an hour, just by an example, or the prices of food, then I don't know what they're actually imagining it might be in the future with the same people.
I'm being my teenager at the moment, Odin, right? It's my teenage phase, right? And it's not right. I've got a 3-bedroom house, I've got a 23-foot speedboat and 2 cars, and I want something. I don't want all that. I can be nice and warm, me, in that little boat. I can have a nice little van, or and I can live that life. There's nothing wrong with that life. It's a good life to live. It's like I'm asking the question of why am I still here? See, I'm not going, oh well, people do it because of that. I am proposing that question to myself. Why am I not getting ready? My mate, right, producer and host now on Darkcity Radio, Bob Earthwise, actually mentioned something. He's got a really worthy trade. I'll give you a little bit of insider knowledge for those who don't know it, but for those who know it, you'll be like, what are you talking about? We all know that about Bob. But Bob set up festivals, free festivals running on alternative energies, you see.
Good, yeah.
And I actually mentioned, Bob was talking to Sarah Dugan, who's in the room with us. And Sarah has got a removal truck. She's converting into such said vehicle, you see, because she likes doing that. And I listened to him chat. And I asked Bob what he did, and he told me. And I went, oh, so, joking. Okay, joking. I went, oh, so I'll be all right for work in the summer. And Bob went, oh, yeah, definitely, we'll get you on, blah, 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 blah. And when he said it, afterwards, it came back to me. Why are you not? I'll get a van. I've done it before. I've converted an ambulance. I had a great time, blah, 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 I'll do it. And then my body went, and what about the house? What about the boat? And what about the other stuff you've got? And that's when I saw it. That's when I saw it. It's not that I'm not abundant. I am abundant. But all this stuff I've got around me, I've got it all, and like Prajna was pointing out, it doesn't really matter where we end up. It's the intention that we put into it when we began. So all this stuff I've got around me, although I'm very thankful for it, don't get me wrong, I've had to go through a damn sight lot of hardship that most people would just to have a roof over my head. Okay, it's bigger than what I need, I grant you, far bigger than what I need. And I really don't require a lot of the other stuff that I've now got in my life. But these, I do seem to feel some kind of a responsibility for. And at the end of the day, what does it matter? I'm just one guy. I could actually just get in my little van, put my camping stuff in it, and I could just roll down to Hastings, and help them people stop them murderers killing them trees and that hedgerows. For what? For money? When you put a price, any price on something living, you've lost it. That's a tree. Next thing, you'll be putting a shackle on the ankle.
Also, you've got a venue there. You've got not just accommodation. We've got just accommodation that we take around, but that means that we can be anywhere, really. But you've also got a venue that allows you to do things like set up the servers for the radio and all these kind of things, and all that needs to be done too. So it all works out.
I'm loving it, Prajna. I'm loving it, you see. But from a guy who doesn't think, I admit I had all that in my head, and that's what it was. And we've all got things to do around us. You with me? All of us. There's something you can do in your environment. I know that. I mean, I know some people will go, and I know I've had a few people say, look, you're doing too much. Just take it out. Take it out, Paul. Take a few breaths out. Well, this is me taking a few breaths out. I'm around creative people. You can be yourself. That touched on me with Rupert. And Rupert mentioned us right on his 50th video. Great guy there. We all go through it. We all go through this turmoil. But look around you. Don't worry too much about the war in Sudan or the oil vest in somewhere or other. Don't worry about it. Just have a look at yourself and your local area. Like I say, and if you're down in the Manchester area and you want to help me finish that 23-foot boat, we'll get it done and we'll get a van and we'll go down and have satellite communication from anywhere on Earth. Bob Earthwise is a bit of a pro at that already. By working together, by sharing our skills, I'm pretty sure we can crack this nut. We can. If we can stop perceiving there is a problem. If we keep looking for that problem, we can't complain if we find it. We've got to give them a way out. We really have got to. If there is a them, we have to give them a way out. Because they are lost. They are lost. They are fallen. They are, what you want to say, addicted to the way they are living. They like it. Somebody said to me not so long ago, it's like trying to prize a warm teenager out of the bedroom with the PlayStation. You made it all nice and cozy. They've got everything they want in there. And you're trying to pull them out of that room and say, come out in the cold and have a walk. Come and get some fresh air outside. And that's what we're facing. But these aren't teenagers.
Paul, I just turned round to my boys and I said, right, here's the house. It's all yours. You can have it. And I left. So they were all tapped out with PlayStations and everything.
Hey man, yeah, it's a good, and I did that, and my family run up debts on the property and left.
I know. Well, they had loads of money out of it.
But it's part.
Can I just say something?
Of course you can, mate.
Okay, thanks. Prajna made a very good point. I think Prajna and everybody here, I think I was built this way. I knew at the age of 15 and 16 that I didn't like, I felt like I was being used as a slave. It was very strange that I had to work and I had to do this and I had to do that. I wasn't a bad young lad. I didn't rebel by, spend my time just damaging crap. But what I did do was, when I got of age, about 18, started hitching around Europe and traveling and seeing the world. And I felt truly alive, just on my own. No one was pushing me. I didn't have any insurance. I had very little money. I had no plan to come back. I just went. And that extended then to a much bigger section of my life, luckily when I was younger, to teach English as a foreign language over many, many different countries, which I just loved. I could never understand why anybody wouldn't want to actually travel the world and see it. But I knew, probably because of my upbringing as well and the efforts made by my parents, that I wasn't going to be selling my soul and doing anything that I really didn't want to do. Although I have, worked in call centres and worked as a cleaner as well, industrial cleaner, which is just soul destroying anyway, but nothing majorly serious. I was never planning on becoming a barrister, lawyer, solicitor, politician or anything, or aspire to be as such. So, I never made those mistakes with money, but I also never got to the point whereby I was selling drugs for a living or prostituting my body. I was always a relatively clear thinker to arrange something to get money to have a relatively decent life. One shouldn't be pushed into this way because it's all about money, but it's how you spend your life and where you are. And I've always been connected with the earth. I always like to go out for walks and cycles in the countryside because that makes sense to me. It's beautiful. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I tried prostitution, but I run at a loss, Odin, so I had to...
Yeah, you would, yeah. You. Didn't work for me neither. No.
So, you're quite right, man, but it is prostitution. It's prostituting yourself out to the vice of finance.
It's really, it's very sad.
Which at the end of the day is a note, and a note is made up from words and letters. From words, and those words are made up from letters, and those letters are devised from magical symbols.
I wonder...
casting. It's called casting. The casting.
I did want to a question's coming to my mind. Who's that nice gentleman with the tattoos who's speaking on behalf of the Palestinians, who's a truly tremendous speaker?
He's called Ken O'Keefe.
Ken O'Keefe.
Really good friend of mine.
Right. Okay, now, Prajna, I wanted to put a question to you. It might be a bit tough now, but I've heard other people talking on free and open radio online. I forget the name, but anyway, other people who clearly have led a certain life that has not been one that I've led, but you get to a point whereby you realise, oh shit, I shouldn't be killing people, I shouldn't be doing this, and there is a big turnaround, which hasn't happened to me because I've always stayed true and steady to myself, but there are other people who have had a broad awakening and done a big turnaround, and he's one gentleman.
I'm an ex-officer as well myself,
right?
And Ken's an ex-Marine,
yeah, and
Ken spent time out in Iraq, and he came back and had all the vaccines or whatever it was that they'd given really screwed things up badly.
Gulf War syndrome.
Yeah. So he had a big turnaround because suddenly he saw that they didn't give a damn about him. Utterly, they didn't give a damn.
Oh, thank God, he's a very agile man, isn't he? He's not that old either, is he?
No, he's not so old at all. Yeah. The energy in Ken is just phenomenal, really. His determination.
Apparently, gentlemen, you're as old as the woman that you're feeling.
That puts me about 25, doesn't it?
Yeah.
25. So I was going to plot for about 25. I thought that'd score me some decent brownie points. Ladies and gents, we're approaching the half hour. I've got to try and remember this. We're on Darkcity Radio. If you want to call us, please do on Skype with Bob's Backyard. Quite simple, one word, Bob's Backyard. If you want to join us on the radio station, you want to look at the website, look at the schedules and so forth. That will be found at www.darkcity.bobsbackyard.co.uk. Facebook and Dark City Radio TV now. Yes, there will be Dark City Radio and TV and that will be the television stream. Of course, we are actually currently building, and I am learning how to write things in Linux. I must tell you, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, all I can tell you is I mustn't be that old then, because I've definitely learned a few new tricks. Another one of them new tricks we've got is if you can't do any of that and you do want to join us, especially if you're on one of these phone packages, you know, where it starts 01, or you can do the American one I've got on BE, not to promote anyone, of course, but very cheap packages and cheaper than the big corporations that are running. And then you can bring that for nothing. But check your package first, because we don't want you paying them anything. That's the whole idea of Darkcity.
And Dan's just mentioned in the chat earlier. He said, "Can you connect the chat up with the Skype?" And having a think about it, there are ways and means of doing it. And not only that, in the chat is the guy who wrote that web connection to IRC chat. So we can knock a few heads together and we can get all kinds of crazy things happening.
Yeah. I mean, it would be good to be able to get his own voice over there and stuff. It is coming. Like I say, I'm having to learn to write these little bits. And I get the way. And Dan, big shout out to Dan for helping us. But what I did want to say was the number you can ring if you're outside the UK, 0044 161 298 0298. And if you're inside the UK, of course, 0161 298 0298. So the 298 0298 is the bit you need. The other ones are the codes internationally and locally. Right, we're up at that time. Now, I don't have to play a bit of something. We don't have to play anything. We can run through there, can't we, I think? I'm good. I've got a cup of tea, half made. This was the argument, as Patrick would say, we've got to have a bit of an argument for the warmongers amongst you. So, yeah, that was our argument. We're not very good at arguing. I tried to take the point of, it's not right, you're having a good time, I've got everything, and I've got to do loads of work. We're all putting our time in, one way or another. I think that's what value should be judged on, if anything at all. I reckon wealth, worth, and measure have had their measure. We've had the worth out of them now. These are no longer systems that we require. But where we have them, then these values of money and currency and whatever it is should be looked at as the time and energy we put into it. But we should never defend that. This is the problem, or the issue as I see it, is that we will then defend that position. We will move from one state, which we know is a bit of a mess, to another position or another state of consciousness or being, of social position. And before we know it, we are defending that position, forgetting that it is like a journey. It is like backpacking around Europe. It really is. We've had a lot of help from Dan, from people all over the world. As I mentioned this, all over the world, I get Susan popping up saying good morning all the way from Australia. It is wonderful that we are having that. We had Santos, Bonacci. I'll get that, you know. Got one of them names. It's like that Prajna. I could never get that when we first met. Where was I going with all this? We're worldwide. We
all over the place.
Yeah, well, we can work together, man. Well, I am all over the place, I admit it. And that was us attempting to have an argument. Where did we get? Well, it all boils down to...
We need to have Rupert to have a proper argument.
Yeah.
I had a real crack with him about
I always
about
loved Rupert. But yeah, it all boils down to...
It wasn't on the radio.
It all boils down to taking that personal control and personal decisions and the personal authority, if you need it, for yourself. And that's the rabbit hole I keep getting wrapped round, from one place to another place. But the synchronicity or the coincidence, whichever side of that you are, I'm always there. I am always there. I am always present. So it's up to me. It's up to me whether or not in 5 years' time I'm chuddling along in a little boat, and I've given up this house and I'm travelling around the world and I've become part of this band of merry men putting out this information. Or it's my position to sit here and do just what I'm doing now. I know this is my position now because that's what I'm doing. And I'm really proud and happy to be with such creative people, such a broad mind of thinkers coming from different ideologies and positions, social states, religious beliefs, and we're working together. We don't know what for, but that's our wealth, that's our worth, and that's our value. The time we have to spend together, as fleeting as it may be, in this thing we call life. Let's make it a star performance. Let's do whatever we can do to bring forth that change that you want to see, that you want to be, not focusing on others and asking them to be the change. No longer, I think, we should require others to change for us, but become that change. I've said it many times, I've gone round the blocks with quite a few. When it all comes down to it, 90% of it is blaming somebody else, and the other 10% doesn't want to take responsibility. Which is the head? Which is the tail? How will we ever really get to the matter of it? That's what I ask myself before I propose the questions to others. I think that's quite important in our time. Ask yourself the question and see if you get the answer before you ask someone else. And as we do question things, it's vitally important that we are prepared to listen to those answers. Most of us don't get time. We've been driven into a position through demand, and we're kept there through fear, through tyranny, if we allow it. Simple for me. I will make the changes which will benefit me and my life for me. And hopefully, as I feel better about myself, and I feel even elated about the position that I am, when I can feel stupendous love and joy for who I am in the moment, maybe then we can all be happy and we can all be sharing that love, as they call it. I don't know if that's the correct word, of course, but maybe.
Bob, we've got all these women's. We've got all these women's now. We've got Sarah, we've got Carly, we've got Susan has just arrived too.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was the hunter. No.
The hunter.
Yeah, the hunter, you see. He said, "Is that nice lady coming back?" And now he finds himself surrounded by them.
Wildhunt the hunter.
So that's how I see it. It doesn't matter where we go, it comes back to me and the choices and the decisions I make. And if I have been coerced, and if I have been led into them by demand, then that's the position where I'm coming from. All contracts are off. All of them. We're all off because we were coerced. All of us. Because no one chooses openly to hurt someone else willingly. Especially when that someone is you. That's why I go with my words are about me. I'm speaking of I. I'm not speaking of you, nor have I have the power to speak for you. I know that about myself. So why would I expect anyone else to have the power to speak for me? And definitely not the authority. So talking about authority, I think you're quite right. We should turn it over towards the ladies. Or should I say the women, because that's what they are on Darkcity. We do have Callie in the background. We do have Sarah. Dawn, our emergency backup, great weight and strength to us, Dawn. Left us a while ago. Working ladies, and we are all on different time scales. So big thanks to Dawn from earlier. And we've just been joined by Susan. So
yes, indeed.
There we go. We have a taker, gentlemen. Hello, Susan. Welcome to Darkcity.
G'day, Paul, and g'day to all you in Darkcity Talkland. How are you all? Good morning. It's torrential rain here, absolutely flash flooding everywhere. Hello to you all. And Kelly, hi Kelly. I don't think we've spoken. G'day. That was really great.
Hello, Susan.
Great what you're saying, Paul. Hello, Susan. Hello. Oh, hey, darling. How are you? That's correct in what you're saying. To seek the change outside of oneself is deluding oneself. So I'm the change I want to see. I'm the change I'm working on. So how you doing? Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Doing very well. Yeah. I was just you just mentioned the rain over there. I was remembering when I had a little visit to Australia a couple of years ago, and it was allegedly monsoon season, but I had to wait 2 weeks for it to rain, and when it did, it was spectacular. It was wonderful.
Aye, that it is. But yeah, it's a constant from one extreme to the other, the weather here. So I'm sort of kind of used to it. But yeah, just going back to what you were saying, Paul, that it's easy to say, I want to be the change, and it's quite another thing to actually be the change and work at changing myself and not expecting that change from others. That not having that expectation. That's the other part of that bargain of being the change.
Well, it's very good of you to say so. I can't remember what I said. I was a mid-rant.
About being the change, and going through that whole process. It's quite a process that you go to because it's mind and body and heart that has to go through that change. And, being strong in the strength of knowing that you have achieved the change in yourself. And just a moment.
I feel like it's kind of ongoing. I can't keep up with it all. And that's really cool. Every day seems to be presenting with something, and sometimes they're... what's sticking with me a lot is this repeatedly doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. That's really sticking with me at the moment, because I do it. And when I noticed it, I started pointing it out, to people. My friends do certain things. You do it over and over, it's the same thing. And when I went, yeah, but what is it you want to do? We've done this before and we're doing it again. And we noticed it. There's a few of them, quite a few other people got a bit agitated about it, but a few noticed it. And then this week, we actually looked back and went, yeah, what did we do last week? We've done this week and we're now having to do it again. And we started to implement a few little changes. Simple stuff, really, like, well, that text needs to get done. Right, well, what do we need to do? We need to get someone who's good at text. Okay, yeah, right, we'll get that. We need some jingles. And people turned up with music abilities. Yeah, let's put the word out to these people with music abilities. We need to get some jingles. And I think that's what it's about, having the strength to speak our weaknesses. And we've got some great strengths here on Darkcity Radio. We really have. And we've got some people who are really, the patient, the compassionate, the shit in the background. Bob Earthwise comes to mind. He's there for nearly all the shows. If I'm not around, Bob's around. And a lot of the time I'm around, Bob's around. And behind that, we've got Jim. I am Ty, They don't say a lot, these guys. They're not like me. But they're there all the time.
I'm here. I'm just really tired today. Something in the background, but hello, everybody.
There you go, you see. Sometimes... like I say, it's about our weaknesses, really. And being able to voice our weaknesses. And when you do that, as I've learned to do, because I'm a guy who's fought for everything, tooth and nail, all my life, that's all I've ever known, asking others for assistance is like, what? They never turn up with it. They never do it. I always end up having to do it. And people have proved me wrong recently. And that's a good feeling. It's nice when you find out some of your own BS has got trampled by people. So yeah, we have got weaknesses. I've got them. I know that. Just the same as the next guy or the next woman. But by speaking them, we seem to find out that people come forward who've got them strengths. Not to do it for us, of course, but to teach us that strength. To show us that strength. To show us its wisdom almost. To share its wisdom, I should say. To share its wisdom on whatever it may be. So yeah, my angle at the moment is don't repeat the same thing over and over and over and expect something. If you see these things, change it. Try something else. Even if that's down to, like, as Callie was saying, go and shop locally. Go and have a look round. It's happened with me at my local market. I go around, it's cheaper than Asda. It's cheaper than Asda, I'm telling you. If you take that little bit of time, you can get a much better quality product for the same amount of money. but you're going to have to put a bit more time in. It's not going to be as convenient at first. It really isn't going to be convenient. At first, it'll seem really inconvenient. But in the long term, trust me, that convenience you're feeling now is not for you. It's not really convenient for you. The 5-minute microwave meal, you think it's convenient. Having a big plasma TV, you can walk home, sit down in your chair, do your microwave meal, sit back, watch your used telly. It looks convenient, but it isn't. Not for you, not in the long term. That's a short-term solution. The same as our government policies. Go on, Bob.
Could I just cut in here, please, Paul? I'd just like to say, don't be frightened of change. This is what a lot of people have a problem with. Change is with us all the time. It happens all the time. And when you get with it, instead of fighting it, it becomes exciting, and it's a much, much better way to look at your life.
Oh, you touched on that job of resistance. Resisting the change. Ooh. Yeah, I hear you, Bob.
Yeah, like wind, Bob. It was explained to me, change is like the wind. It's there all the time. It's only when it blows really hard and pushes you to your ass, you actually recognise its force. So don't be scared of it. It's there all the time, as you say, Bob. Beautiful. Oh, we've all gone quiet.
Oh, yes, we have. As you were speaking a little while ago, a friend of mine, they picked up a little baby ferret on the side of the road. And as we were discussing before, and then he came in and the little ferret had its fingernail caught in a thread. So, little baby ferret on the side of the road. It's so cute. But, being resistant to the change, that can bring in a whole load of psychological and health issues, being resistant to the change that's ahead of you. And I found that. And also having the time to sit down with that change, because the mind may accept the change, but sometimes the body's a little bit slower in accepting it. So, the mind and body sometimes don't run on the same timetable. But, change is good. It really is good.
You've just got
and embracing it.
You've just got to remember that change is inevitable. You can't avoid change, so you might as well accept that you're going to go through it and grow through it the best you can.
I totally agree with that.
Yes. And having good people around you. You'll have to excuse me. I don't know if it's going quiet because I've popped offline. I'm on Wi-Fi, or it's just gone quiet. Yeah, I've come into the last of the chat, so I don't really know what you've all been talking about prior. And sounds good, and there's some great people in here in Dark City Radio. Dark City Radio. Coming to you live.
Yeah, we're actually getting a little bit of feedback coming through you. I didn't quite grasp what Sarah was saying. I think it was about accepting the change. You're going to have to go through it anyway. Was that right there, Sarah?
Well, basically, I'm saying it's unavoidable, isn't it? Look how many drastic changes you go through in your life. So to think that if you just think of it that way, you're more accepting to change and you're more open in your arms to change. If you just think about it like that, rather than making a big thing out of it, because it's not a big thing. It's progress. It's evolution. It's your own personal journey.
I can go for that, definitely. Yeah. Embracing the change is the words I use. But be aware some things aren't ready to be embraced in the change. So, embrace the change as long as that change is flowing. And if it doesn't feel right to you, don't be afraid, as Bob said, don't be afraid to do something else. Really don't. If you're in a position in your life where, it is difficult, look around you. I don't have to look any further than the friends and colleagues and brothers and sisters I've made here on Dark City. I won't even say they're like a family, because they're not. It's not. But they've assisted me in going through changes in my life. Rapid, drastic changes sometimes. And other times, elated changes. Like I say, every time, doesn't matter how big or small them changes are, I'm going through it. It is about me and how I deal with it. When I look at this in the bigger world and listen to you all speak tonight about embracing that change on an individual level, it gives me a great strength to know that amongst us all, that change has already begun. Whatever it was we thought was the problem, The solution to that has already been integrated. Before us, if you do a future, but before me, from my moment that I'm in, there is nothing to fear. Beyond this is something beyond anything we can ever imagine. So I wouldn't even begin to try and explain it. But it is far beyond anything any of us can imagine. As a singular one. But together, I suspect we have all been dreaming of it for a very long time. So when we do awaken, then maybe, just maybe, we'll awaken into that we have dreamed. And there will be no more tomorrow. Okay, it's a flight of fantasy.
Can I just get in and say something?
I'm going to shut up and let you all fight for it.
All right, okay. I just wanted to ask Susan if there's any news stories in Australia that might come to her mind that she can talk about. Any news stories at all there?
Well, I don't really watch TV and the news. I sort of get my news off the internet. Other than the paedophilia thing, that's pretty big here at the moment. A lot of the old children's homes are being done. Everyone's being investigated. So pretty much worldwide, that's all sort of breaking open now. People are coming forth and speaking about their experiences.
Who are they? Who are they
exposing?
Yeah.
The children's homes. What are they called? Boys Town. A very big organisation run by charity through the Catholic Church, and they're worldwide. And a lot of these places where Aboriginal children went, abused children went. Yeah, very big. Very, everyone, the Boys Town, they're really good. They look after children, but lo and behold, they were abusing them.
How do you view the moving on of the Pope?
I think it's the changes there. They can't resist it any longer. Their lies, their lies and other agenda programs are being illuminated now, and they can't get away with it anymore. No longer do we bow to their authority because they have none.
No, that's right.
I get a bit passionate when I talk about that stuff, so excuse my language. But,
no, it's all right. This is Darkcity Radio. You can say the words that you've just said and more. So
yeah, that's sort of pretty big news here, and mostly the weather here at the moment, because it's that time of the year where we have cyclones and tornadoes, and so mostly the weather here at the moment. Oh, and the government, we're broke. The Australian government is way in debt, and our female Prime Minister just isn't cracking the pace, spending more money than what's coming in. So
she's quite the nut job, isn't she?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. But although
sorry,
Susan.
Although I was born in this country, yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to butt in and ask: have you actually looked into the? There's a website called Frequently Unanswered Questions about the Australian government. Have you looked at that yet?
No, I haven't.
It's really interesting. It's well worth a look. There's a video, a documentary. What's it called, babe?
What the fuck it's called? What the FUQ? Frequently unanswered questions.
And basically it's revealing that the Australian government isn't the mandated, if you like, Australian government. It's exposing the whole fraud of the government over there. It's massive.
Well, that's right. Yeah. The whole government thing. I think it was 1958 where the Australian Reserve Bank was turned into a corporate identity. So whatever goes on there, it's just, it's not real. It's an illusion.
Exactly.
God damn it. Yeah.
Are you aware of all the good work of Vincent Eastwood out there in New Zealand at all, Susan?
Yeah, no, I'm not. Do you continue? Please explain. What is this man famous?
VincentEastwood.com, I think, one word. He's a 26-year-old young man who's very, very good. He talks about the lighter side of genocide, and he's well up on law, legislation, contracting, and he's been holding some tremendous interviews online, which can be found at his website and or exclusively at American Freedom Radio, I guess I could say that here. And he's trying to expose all sorts of just everything, the whole wake-up call right across the board, really. I like him. I've talked to him personally. He's in New Zealand. Do look him up, his website. You'll see all the podcasts there as well.
Right, thank you, Odin. And would you be so kind as to put his name in text? Thank you.
Sure, I will. I just muted my mic there. Sorry, next. Anyone else?
I think Bob was trying to get in actually earlier, if you can, but just a reminder, if you're not actually speaking, to mute your microphones, because we are getting a bit of feedback and it cuts that right down. Bob, were you trying to get in, mate?
Yeah, I mean, it was just going back to what you were saying, and in reality, the change started when you were born into this world, because it's never the same place once you're here. Rather than it being something that you're trying to effect from now, you've already started it.
Absolutely, I'll go with that, yeah. Yeah, the thought has been put into the reality. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
I like it, Bob. Bob, I like it. I'm really looking forward, right? And I know I'm not going to do it because things have changed, but I was really looking forward to seeing. So I'm going to do it, because I might never get the opportunity again. Ladies and gentlemen, over to Bob Earthwise for the news. There you go. I said it.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome, Bob.
No, we'll get to it on Saturday. It's still going to happen.
Yeah, all we need now is a Bob to do the weather. So if you're out there and you don't mind being called Bob and you'd like to do the weather following Bob the News, the Resistance News, and the idea of that is was kind of born here. It was kind of born in the shows with the Hastings crew coming in. So big shout out to them. We've got about 5 minutes if you want to go around and just say hello, but if anything you want to say. Thanks everyone for tuning in, coming in, covering Don's spot, keeping them warm. It is Darkcity Radio, it is your radio station. Please, although we are a bit moored out, contact us, let us know what you can do if you want to join in. We don't know what we're doing, we're all flying by the seats of the pants. It's changing daily. It seems to be going in the right direction, if there is such a thing as a right direction. Who knows? The Darkcity crew, please say hello, say goodbye, say whatever you want to say. We have got about 4 minutes.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you to Prajna and Callie and Sarah and Susan and Bob yourself there. Really, it's been enjoyable. Thank you very much.
And it was good to get out on that protest site today too, and even if it was only for a little bit, to touch base with them, and it'll be good to get back in touch with them again, I think.
Yeah. Hastings.
Susan.
Yes, Prajna. And if I may say thank you to all the listeners out there, and thank you for the input that people do put in on a daily basis. And Paul, thank you to you for the effort that you put in behind the scenes, the late hours, the early starts, quick, press the button. So thank you to you for that too. And also, is anyone up to date with the asteroids? Have we finished with the asteroids? Have they passed, or we're coming into more asteroids?
Do you know, I went and saw a video on YouTube the other day that claimed to be an asteroid crashing in Syria. And it turned out in Saudi Arabia, yeah, and it actually turned out that it was a plane being shot down in Syria, and because all the soundtrack was just all these dudes yelling out Allah Akbar, it meant that you could interpret it any of 1,000 different ways, and we've got to be careful because an awful lot of this stuff is just you think there are 50 asteroids that have arrived, and you find out actually there were only one or two. But yeah.
I saw there was a video being passed around with regard to the actual landing site of the one that went into Russia, and because I picked up on it on one of the social networking sites, there was someone who put in a comment and told that what it really was. So I went to the internet and found a video I saw about 3 years ago of a burning hole in Turkmenistan, and that's what it was. I think they're all, it's just an actual phenomenon, and they've all passed by. I heard there was one landed in Cuba as well, but I don't know anything more on that.
All I know is we've got 2 minutes left. Ty, Sarah, Bob.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to all the Dark City listeners, and I've really enjoyed my first time on the radio, and really love getting my opinion across and listening to everyone else's, and would love to hear from other people listening to Dark City. So thank you.
Bob?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone as well. You know, it is good fun doing this, and we are putting together a really good, strong team, and they're all people that you're learning from the whole time. It's brilliant. So, yeah, keep listening and join in.
Keep listening, keep learning, and keep being open.
Hey, you can't say much better than that. Hey, I'm honoured to serve such people. I really am. It is sometimes long hours, but they're enjoyable. Yeah, it's good stuff. Who do I want to mention? Dom will be back. Tired. He's got a lot to do. It's the only reason he's not here. We've all been really happy to cover it. The listeners out there, what we've got, America, USA, the European flag. Somebody's got a European Union all the way over in Liverpool. Nice to have you with us from Liverpool with a European Union flag. How have you done that? That's really clever. Anyway, where was I? Well, I did want to mention a few people just before we close, but we're out of time. We love you all in Dark City. Please join in whenever you like. That's what it's all like. We'll go back to this.